On an ordinary Tuesday morning in Singapore, the business district still smelled of rain. On the 52nd floor of a gleaming glass tower sat Daniel Mercer, CEO of Meridian Holdings. He had everything people admired, but nothing he actually needed. His days were a storm of meetings, emails, and investors. He had just ended a conference call that left him feeling empty, a void he couldn't name, only feel. 4 floors below, a Filipino waiter named Raymond carried a tray of pastries into the executive cafe. He'd been in Singapore for 2 years, saving every dollar to send home to his family in Laguna. He dreamed of putting his siblings through school, building a small house, and one day returning so his mother wouldn't have to sell vegetables at the market anymore. Raymond was known for his smile, the kind that looked sincere even at 6 in the morning. He didn't have much, but he gave everything he had to his work, dignity, respect, and an unshakable belief that kindness mattered. Around 10 o'clock, Daniel entered the cafe, needing a break from the cold, controlled air of his office. He walked in with a quiet tension, his suit flawless, but his eyes tired, disconnected from the world. Raymond noticed right away. He'd learn to read people's moods from years of helping at his mother, a small eatery back home. He approached the CEO with a gentle nod. Daniel barely looked up, ordering a black coffee and a croissant in a detached tone. As Raymond prepared the coffee, he noticed the slight tremor in Daniel's hands, the sharp exhale as if trying to steady himself. Most would have ignored it, but Raymond saw people, not just customers. When he placed the cup on the table, he said softly, "Long morning, sir." Daniel glanced up, surprised by the informal tone. "Something like that," he answered. "Feels like they're all long lately." Raymond nodded with genuine understanding. "Sometimes," he said, "life keeps moving faster, even when we're already tired. Hard to catch your breath." Those simple words made Daniel pause. They weren't advice or empty pleasantries. They sounded like truth. He found himself asking, "How do you catch your breath?" Raymond, caught off guard, answered with his usual honesty, "When I feel like that, sir, I stop thinking about what I still don't have or need to fix. I remind myself I'm still here, I'm still trying, and that's enough for today. Tomorrow, I try again." Daniel stared at the young man. Those ordinary words felt heavier than anything he'd heard in a boardroom. They offered a clarity his world rarely did. The conversation lingered in his mind all day. For the next week, he returned to the cafe every morning, served by the same waiter who remembered his order and greeted him like a real person. One morning, Daniel asked, "Where are you from?" "Laguna, Philippines," Raymond replied warmly. "A small town, very green. Very noisy in a happy way." "And why Singapore?" "Because my family needs me," Raymond said simply. "I came here so my brother can stay in school, so my mother won't worry. Every day I work, I'm working for them." He said it without bitterness or complaint, just truth. And Daniel, a man of unimaginable wealth, felt something quietly shift inside him. He'd spent a decade chasing success, but he had never once asked himself who he was working for. A week later, during an investors' meeting, Daniel couldn't focus. His mind drifted to the quiet sincerity of the waiter downstairs, who carried heavier burdens yet smiled a real smile. He remembered the line, "I remind myself I'm still here. I'm still trying." And suddenly, he saw the truth in a clear mirror. He had everything but meaning. The next morning, he went to the cafe early, not for coffee but to talk. He found Raymond wiping the counter. "Can I ask you something unusual?" Daniel said. Raymond chuckled. "I've heard many unusual things, sir." "You can try." Daniel sat down. "If you could change one thing in your life, what would it be?" Raymond didn't even need to think. "Time," he said. "I want more time with my family. Money helps us survive. But time, that's where life happens." Daniel was struck by the clarity of that answer. Time was the one thing he wasted without hesitation. He found himself saying, "You know, you're the only one who talks to me like a person." Raymond laughed. "Everyone is a person, sir. Even CEOs." Daniel smiled for the first time in days. Over the next month, their brief morning talks became a quiet ritual. It was an unexpected meeting of two people from opposite ends of the world who shared the same human longing to feel connected, alive, and seen. Then came the day that changed everything. Daniel learned from the cafe manager that Raymond had been absent for several days. Concerned, he asked around and eventually discovered that Raymond had been hospitalized after collapsing from exhaustion. Without hesitation, Daniel left his office and went straight to the hospital. He found Raymond on a bed, weak but smiling when he saw the CEO. "You didn't have to come, sir," he whispered. "I did," Daniel replied. "How long have you been working double shifts?" "Too long," Raymond admitted with a shy laugh. "Just trying to save more for home." That was the moment Daniel realized how deeply unfair the world could be. A young man who gave so much of himself was pushed beyond his limits just to help his family survive, while he, a man of wealth, wasted his own strength on things that didn't matter. Before leaving, Daniel told him, "You've helped me more than you know. You reminded me of what matters." "You reminded me to be human," Raymond smiled softly. "Sometimes we just need someone to talk to. Someone to remind us we're not alone." A week later, Raymond returned to work, but only for a day. Daniel met him in the cafe with a letter. "I need you to read this," he said. Inside was a job offer from Meridian Holdings. Not as a waiter, but as a community and employee engagement coordinator, a new position Daniel created himself. The role involved organizing employee wellness programs and improving workplace morale, with full benefits and a salary beyond what Raymond ever expected. Raymond was speechless. "Sir, I'm just a waiter. You're the reason I'm changing how this company operates," Daniel said. "I want Meridian to value people, not just profits. And I want you to help me build that." Tears formed in Raymond's eyes. "But sir, why me?" "Because," Daniel said, "you changed my life with one conversation. I think you can help change many more." Word spread like wildfire. The CEO had promoted a waiter, not for connections or qualifications, but because he embodied the humanity the company had forgotten. Under Daniel's leadership, Meridian introduced mental health breaks, flexible scheduling, and family-centered policies. At the heart of these programs was a Filipino man who once served coffee with a simple smile. Employees became happier, more motivated, productivity increased, turnover dropped. A company built on humanity was stronger than one built only on ambition. Months later, Daniel and Raymond had coffee on the top floor, overlooking the city. "You know," Daniel said thoughtfully, "people think success comes from big decisions. But for me, it came from a small moment. From something you said without even trying." Raymond smiled. "What was it? That you're still here, you're still trying." "And that's enough." In that moment, two men from different worlds sat bound not by status, but by the quiet power of human connection. A CEO found meaning. A waiter found opportunity. And a single conversation changed an entire company. Because sometimes the most extraordinary transformations begin in the most ordinary places, with a simple, genuine moment of seeing another human being for who they are. That is how a Filipino waiter changed a CEO's life, with something the world often overlooks: sincerity, humility, and a heart that chooses kindness even when no one is watching.